Plaintiff Shakaya Martin met the defendant online, and they hung out but never dated. Shakaya claimed she let the defendant move in with her for 15 days, but that turned into almost 3 months, and she's suing him today for damaged property and emotional distress. Defendant Trayvon Smith says after meeting Shakaya online, they did more than just hang out. They had sex, whether she wants to admit it or not.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
And ma'am, you're suing your former roommate for $1,500 for damaged property and emotional distress?
You guys keep saying he wasn't my roommate.
Okay.
He rented a room from me, and that was all.
He's never been your roommate?
No.
Okay. That's what I was told.
I mean, no, that's fine. You guys said that a few times, and I'm a little lost because I told them before that, like, no, he wasn't a roommate. He was renting a room.
Let me apologize for the people who, what you describe as incompetent, okay?
Oh, all right. That's what you want to give the name?
If you keep telling somebody the same thing and they keep doing it wrong, then they're incompetent. So I'm apologizing to you if someone did that to you.
I disagree. I don't think they were incompetent.
If somebody tells you the same thing over and over and you keep doing it wrong.
I don't think you heard what I said. I didn't say that they told me the same thing over. I said that this is not my first time hearing this.
I heard it from them a few times.
I've said it a few times, yes. Them, I mean your producers. I done talked to a few different people. So what I'm saying is the one person that you're referencing as incompetent,
How many people
I'm not.
Did you talk to?
5.
All right, well, you think I'm part of something? You think I'm part of interviewing you?
I would assume that you would have.
I'm not a part of any of that. I'm a part of being a judge, not a clerk. Now, what you referring to is what clerks do. All right.
Never.
I'm not a clerk.
All righty.
No.
Thank you for clarifying
Far
that
from
for
that,
me.
yes, you're welcome. Don't let it happen again. All right, so give me some background.
All right, Judge. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and that is where I met the defendant. I ended up meeting him online, and but we were familiar with how each other looked, and we, seeing that we were both from Minnesota. Mm-hmm. That's how we ended up connecting. During us connecting, he had let me know that he had messed around with someone that I knew. Let him know, okay, well, cool. It can't go farther than that. So we just started to, hang out with each other, whatever the case may be. And it got to a point where we both ended up experiencing, whatever life challenges it was that we were experiencing, we both ended up experiencing at the same time. So I ended up getting my place sooner than he got his. And then at me having my place, I had a 2-bedroom. So I'm like, okay, well, you can come and, rent that other room because there's no point in you staying wherever you're staying and you're having to pay more. So you can come rent this other room. I'm not looking for a roommate. This is just, temporary. He let me know that this would just be to the first of the month. All right, cool. He got in there. And it was just so much. It was way more than I expected for it to be for 15 days. It ended up being way longer than 15 days. Not
How
only
long?
did it ended up being 3 months.
Okay.
Or 2.5. So the July, August, to September. Yep, so 2.5. So it ended up being 2.5 months. And
They've been telling you right.
Huh?
They've been telling you right. You had a roommate. You just, for some reason, no one accepted or don't know the definition. I don't know what's on
Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe the definition is not that clear on when it comes to roommate.
Got it? Go ahead. They're laughing at you.
It's not that funny.
It is. Anybody watching, they gonna say she's something.
Judge,
they gonna say she don't think right, and she think a man would stay with her for 3 months and wasn't her roommate.
Do you want to tell me what the definition of roommate is? Because what I say when I speak of
the
roommate,
law is 30 days. How about that? I'll tell you the law. How about that? 30 days.
Doable.
Right.
Tell me
and anybody with common sense knows that 3 months. You don't have to know the law. You can have common. You ever heard that? Say. Common sense.
You don't do it.
Common sense.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
You got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that roommate.
You still want to do this?
Yes, because now
you still want to do this with me.
Look.
Let me spell it out for you. When someone stays with you for 3 months, they are your roommate. They're no longer visiting.
Well, I never said he was visiting either. I said he was renting out a room.
When we get to your, let me hear from you. Yeah?
Well, renting
this
out
a problem you had to deal with all the way through?
That's
Speak
what
for
I'm saying.
itself.
He wasn't a
Please
roommate.
let him talk. You're confused.
It was renting out a room.
Shh. What's wrong with you?
I feel like it's a miscommunication. We're not understanding each other.
You seem very naive to the world. If you think that someone lived with you for 3 months has not been your roommate.
I'm assuming that roommate
You
signed
still
a
want to
contract.
do this?
Yes, because now...
You still want to do this with me?
Look.
Let me spell it out for you. When someone stays with you for 3 months, they are your roommate. They're no longer visiting.
Defendant Trayvon Smith is being sued by his former roommate, who claims she and Trayvon were nothing more than friends, but he insists they had sex.
Go ahead, sir. Let me hear from you.
All right, so she was right. I met the defendant online, but we are from the same city, and I did date a girl that she know. However, we did have sex. Simple.
You
I had
did
my
not?
own place. We did. I had my own place at
You
one.
said you didn't.
I know. Anyways, I had my own place.
Ma'am? Ma'am, he said you did have sex.
I said we chilled. I said we didn't date. We chilled. We did
Your claim is
chill.
dismissed. Nobody's playing games
We
with you.
did
It's
chill.
called
I
perjury.
told you we
Have a good
chilled.
day. Claim dismissed. Nobody's playing games with you, perjuring yourself. Bye-bye.
I said we didn't date.
I know. Next time, don't perjure yourself with a judge.
We didn't
I mean,
date.
it is what it is. I ain't really got too much to say.
We didn't date. I don't know. Wait, we didn't
Never
date.
said
We
dated.
chilled.
We had sex.
Plaintiff Pierre Davis bonded with the defendant over their military backgrounds, and they became good friends. Pierre claims he had his stimulus check deposited into the defendant's account, but he never gave him the money, so Pierre's suing. Defendant Bobby Battles says Pierre is a party animal, but they could never go to the strip clubs because Pierre didn't have enough money for that. Bobby insists Pierre's stimulus money was taken for unpaid child support, and therefore Bobby owes him nothing.
Start with you.
Okay, when the first stimulus came out during the corona,
Where you know the gentleman from? Let's talk about your friendship first.
oh, he's like my brother through the military. He's a retired Army veteran.
How long you all known each other?
I've been knowing him about 5 years through a mutual friend. And we became kind of like god brothers because I'm a self-employed auto mechanic. I work on cars, and he has a few cars, and you know, he has kids. And then we became like a bond through like military, you know.
Good. What type of stuff you all do together?
Oh, just like for the brotherhood, for the brother love.
So watch
You know,
games.
we watch games,
go
we
have
barbecue
drinks,
together.
Y'all
we
play golf at all? Or?
No, we don't golf. We don't even play ball. We raise chickens. You know, he's from Mississippi. We raise chickens.
Hobbies. You all have hobbies together.
Yeah, we are bond brothers.
Yeah, but I was trying to see what bond brothers do. Because ladies want to know, I promise you.
Yeah, he's.
They want to know what good buddies do when they're out of their company.
Man, he
They
got
want to know
some
what
of the best
men do together when they're out of the company. So I'm trying to get you to tell these ladies that it ain't what they think. Y'all ain't always
Right,
drinking
yeah,
and chasing women or gambling.
When he got one of his first puppies together, we named it together, Bracco. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be a good one for the
stuff.
girls. You
We
play
got
with
chickens
puppies.
together.
Right, now that'll fly.
Yeah, and then we go.
We play with the puppy. We play with the puppy, baby.
Yeah, we named the puppy.
What y'all doing out until 3 a.m.? What's happening at 3? We playing with the puppy. No, you gotta come better than that, Doc.
Yeah, Bracco is like family, you know.
What type of dog?
What kind of dog is Bracco? Terrier?
Bracco's a mutt.
All right, mutt.
Yeah, but we love Bracco, and them Bracco are king.
That's right.
He
All
take
right.
care of the babies.
Okay, you overplaying it now. You're gonna get a little suspicion going with your woman. You overplay it now.
Brocco, baby.
You gotta get that thing just right.
You can't mess with Brocco. Brocco protects the yard. He protects the chickens and everything.
All right.
We got a garden together. He did me wrong on the garden, though, but that's another story.
What happened? Tell me about it. I want to know how your man did you wrong on the garden.
He robbed me for my okra and my corn. He did me wrong. He gave me a couple of tomatoes, though.
You took the man's okra.
That's not true, Jeff.
Yeah.
First of all, it was my okra. I bought the okra.
But who planted and raised the okra?
I planted and I raised the okra. He just claimed the okra.
Who bought the seeds?
I did.
That's what you need to be suing him about. Okra is much more important than the stimulus. I'd rather have okra than some stimulus. You give me some background on your friendship.
Yes, I met Pierre about 6 years ago. He was a veteran, I'm a veteran, so we had a mutual, something in common. We went to clubs together.
Told you, y'all trying to run that hobby game on me. Tell the truth. Y'all went to clubs.
We partied. We went to the club together. We played with the women. I didn't take him to the strip club because he didn't have enough money for that. But
I know he wouldn't. You stole his okra. He couldn't sell no okra. I know he didn't have enough. Man gonna steal your okra, sell it, take the money to the strip club, toss it up in the air, and then look down on you. I can't take you because you don't have no money. No, I don't. You done stole my okra.
You're right, Your Honor. It broke my heart. You're right, Your Honor. It broke my heart. And we got a garden together. He did me wrong on the garden, though, but that's another story.
What happened? Tell me about it. I want to know how your man did you wrong on the garden.
He robbed me for my okra and my corn.
Plaintiff Pierre Davis is suing his former friend, who claims he and Pierre could never go out to the strip clubs because Pierre could never afford it.
Go ahead, sir.
And
you all used to hang?
Pierre, we came down to Pierre was a party animal. Good to go out there with party, chasing them women. Stay on code, yeah. But yes, he was a party animal.
But y'all single men, right? Y'all single.
I am.
Yeah.
I've never been married.
All right, as long as you're maintaining your health.
Yes, sir.
You chase women if you want. As long as you're not deceiving them and you're maintaining your health, that's all right.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing a little too much for your age, then you might.
Oh, they come to me. I don't go to them. Yeah, my blood pressure. They raised my blood pressure up. I got my medication.
You have it on the side when you got your women with you. I'm talking about when you after the club.
No, I make sure I take
your lady. You put your package aside. Your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Do you put what stops the heart attacks? The nitroglycerin.
Yeah. Yeah. You put that on your tongue.
Right next to you in case.
Yes, sir. You know, don't you? You must have.
I don't know.
You must have some. You know about it.
I did have one of my very best friends. He passed while
God bless him.
making love to his younger lady. She was in her 20s. He was in his mid-60s. Yeah, it's hard. So, joking around, but it happens. Yeah. That's a real. People think that's just something funny people say. Yeah. It happens. Men's heart give way when they're doing too much.
Yeah.
All right.
Too much. Yes, sir. You're right.
And so I want to make sure you got your heart pills.
Yeah, I got my blood pressure. Yeah, I got
right there.
Hey, they up my milligram too.
So hold on, baby. Hold on there, baby.
Hold on.
All right, fine. Now, what happened with this stimulus check you're suing your friend for?
He deposited. My first stimulus check. I said, well, you deposit in your bank account, okay? That way I ain't got to wait so long for a paper check. It'll come on in. So it came in, but it ain't come to me.
Where did it go?
It went to the bank account in his name.
Okay.
Yes, I have exhibit number 1.
When you asked him for your money, what has he said?
I didn't find out till a year later.
Okay.
When I got the second stimulus check, my daughter actually went online and said, Daddy, you got the first check. I was like, no, I didn't.
When did you find that out?
Actually, I think it was in March of this year.
This year?
Yeah.
And when you mentioned it to him, what did he say?
I waited till I got the 600. Then he gave me the 1400. Then I told him about it, and I presented the evidence to him.
What did he say?
He said, no.
What did he say happened to the money? Did
He gave the money to someone else that was on the bank account.
Did you ask him why?
He made a mistake. He made an honest mistake. Broke our friendship up, broke my heart.
A mistake? How will you allow a mistake to break it up?
Because the other person he gave the money to had a direct deposit on the car.
I understand, but you're the one saying right now it was a mistake.
Yeah.
You said it was a mistake.
Yes, it was a mistake.
So then how can you break up a friendship after your friend has made a mistake? I know $1,200 is a pretty good piece of money,
yes.
But, you know, a friendship as close as you just described, you're supposed to be mad for 6 months.
Yes.
That's how that's supposed to go. And then y'all resume your friendship. How many months has it been?
It's been over a year.
See? And you all supposed to come back. You were supposed to come back together, and then if you just felt the need to remind him every blue moon, just jokingly say something. Yeah, man, want my 1,200? Man, quit bothering me about that. Anybody bother you? You took my money, now you got a new car.
Yeah,
you know, but
like
you can remind him subtly. That's my point. But don't break up your friendship over this. What evidence do you have you want to show me?
I have a letter that said I got the $1,200 from Donald Trump, was the president actually then.
What page?
Page 1. No, this is page 3 actually.
I didn't know he signed all the letters.
Personally.
I personally signed every letter. I'm getting my fellow American.
Gotta do something.
Our great country is experiencing an unprecedented public health and economic challenge. Every citizen should take tremendous pride in the selflessness I'm showing and the courage and compassion that I feel for all Americans. Signed, Donald J. Trump. You stole his okra. He couldn't sell no okra. I know he didn't have enough. I mean, man gonna steal your okra, sell it, take the money to the strip club, toss it up in the air, and then look down on you. I can't take you because you don't have no money. No, I don't. You done stole my okra.
Right, Your Honor.
Plaintiff Pierre Davis is suing his former friend, who claims he and Pierre could never go out to the strip clubs because Pierre could never afford it.
And what do you have to tell me, sir? Your defense to this?
Yes. What had happened was me, Pierre, and Diane got together to find out that a way that he can get and she can get the stimulus check quicker. Which is dropping into my bank account, directly depositing they check into my bank account. Once we did it, only $1,200 came to my bank account. So
it was supposed to have been 2, you said?
It's supposed to have been 2. So Pierre said that it was his because I punched in his name first. So he decided to say, he told me, he said, well, this is mine because he went in first. I said, no, Pierre, I'm going to find out who it is, or we're going to wait and see if there's another $1,200. We get a couple of days. So there's another $1,200 didn't come in, another $1,200 on the one. So we got together, found out that was Diane $1,200 stimulus check. The first stimulus check, they were not giving people who are back pay on child support.
You owe child support, sir?
Yes, sir. But I got proof through the IRS that they did not take that money.
Let's see your proof.
And,
which page is your proof that the IRS didn't take it?
Page 1 is my proof.
Pardon me?
Page 1 is mine because they gave me my $2,000
says
stimulus
account transcript. Okay, this is page 1. All right. So whenever you had 2 pages, always make sure you read the second page.
Yeah, the second page is page 2.
Read that, the first sentence of the second page, sir. Read the first sentence of the second page, sir.
Internal Revenue Service, up top.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring my glasses.
Oh, I know you didn't. You want me to read it to you?
Yes, sir.
It says, refund applied to a non-IRS debt. They took your money because you haven't paid your child support. So that money went to your kids. Let's give him a hand. You're a good man. You paid towards your kids.
Okay, how did I get...
Sir, I just read that. Have a good day. Bye. Your claim is dismissed. Have a good day. How about this man took your money? Pay your child support. Okay. All right. Gonna end your friendship over your child support.
Well, Pierre.
Hey, I love you, bro. Hey, you going back home? I'm riding with you.
No, you're not.
Hey, he just said it. I love you, but I'm my heart. You my brother.
Only thing I say is I would, you can be my friend, but you'll never, never, ever work on my vehicles. Never again.
No more, because I'm your best mechanic.
No, you're the worst I ever.
Plaintiff Alexis says the defendant is her brother, and although they had a tumultuous childhood, they became much closer as they grew older. Alexis is suing because she claims the defendant sold her an ATV, and then he repossessed it. Defendant John Mooney says when he and Alexa were younger, they both dabbled in drugs, but he's sobered up and has since turned his life around. John insists Alexa was supposed to pay off the ATV within 6 months, and she failed to do so, so he's countersuing for breach of contract.
All right, start with you, ma'am.
Well, first off, I want to say that I love my brother and always will. I'm really sad.
How were you all growing up?
It was a tumultuous childhood. He was a bit feistier than I was and a little angrier. He always kind of had a temper, but he has managed to change that 180 degrees in his life. He found a wife very later in life and had a child and has just been happier than I've ever seen him in his whole life. And I've been really supportive and really am happy.
How long ago did he get a wife?
About 16 years. 16.
Oh, it was up until then, though, he was angry.
Up until then, he was a little volatile.
Well, ma'am, you don't understand that? If a man ain't got a woman, he's irritable.
Yeah. That's what he tells me.
And never had none. Yeah, of course he mad.
Well, he did, but he just chose very poorly before that.
Oh, he used to have some.
Oh, yeah,
the marriage wasn't the first time that he was with a woman.
It was a first marriage, but it wasn't the first time of a long-term
relationship. Oh, okay. I thought he hadn't had none. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'd be mad every day, too.
It was really frustrating to watch because he is a good guy.
I'd be on edge, yeah.
But he found the right gal this time, so.
Defendant John Mooney says the plaintiff is his sister, and he claims when they were younger, they both dabbled in drugs, but he has since turned his life around.
Let me hear from you, sir.
Well, you know, she's actually my stepsister, but I don't consider her my stepsister because I've known her since I was 6 years old. And so, you know, growing up, we had some closeness, you know, through high school. You know, we did the 70s, 80s things, experimented with little drugs here and there, and the 80s kind of took off. And
crack?
I plead the fifth on that one. I would say, you know, pot and a little bit of other stuff. But at that point, I decided that I was on a dead-end street. And I got sober, clean and sober.
How?
Visited some friends of Bill's.
Oh, there you go.
You know,
there you go.
I hung out with friends of Bill.
And friends of Bill, that's enough. That's what I advise people. Do you mind if I say who the friends of Bill are? Okay, friends of Bill are those in recovery. That's how they refer to each other. Outside of, and when they see each other, they ask each other, "You're a friend of Bill?" And so I taught you all something new today. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for allowing us to educate.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. But the two of you were all right. And when you got yourself together, how were things?
Well, I practiced the 12 steps. Mm-hmm. I followed them. And I did inventories on myself. And I realized that most of my problems, 99% of them, were of my own making.
And you've worked to redeem yourself by trying to repair the damage you committed.
Yes.
Or the best way you can.
I made amends where I could, and some amends were not, I couldn't make, and I take them to the grave.
So those who wonder why I always ask when people say they're in recovery and they're this, I always say, well, what are you doing for the people you harmed? Because they come in bragging all the time. Your Honor, I'm now an astronaut. So all the things I did, stealing my mama TV, robbing people, all that is wiped away. I'm an astronaut now, Your Honor. Can you see how big I am? Yeah. And then I say, what have you done for the people you've harmed? What? What have you done? I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
That's what I typically get. And I say that to these folks because that is one of the primary principles of the 12-step program. So that tells me whether you're really in recovery. That's why I asked that, because that'll tell me that you're going to your meetings or that you're not. So thank you once again for allowing us to show. That's why. Because that's part of something that is special. All right. Tell me what's happening here with the breach of contract for $2,500.
Well, last summer I turned 60, and as a gift to myself, I was going to buy myself a quad. So I went on eBay, and I found 2 of them for really cheap, and I could afford it. So I got the cards and did it, and it turned out to be a scam. And I was horrified. I was so embarrassed I couldn't tell anybody for like a month. I couldn't even say anything. I was horrified. John and I had been speaking very regularly up to this point. So finally, about a month and a half, 2 months later, I told him, embarrassingly so. And a couple months later, he called me and said that he had bought a quad and that he wanted me to have it. Okay. And I was just so touched.
Once again, a quad that's the
it's
ATV?
an all-terrain vehicle.
Yeah.
It's a 4-wheel all-terrain vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And basically...
What you doing with it?
I live in the desert. I own 20 acres and 2 little houses, and I live by myself, so I do all the chores. I mean,
that's kind of remote. Where are you showing that nice hair off at? That's
to
you
my
you drive to Vegas that day? When you drive to Vegas, where you get your hair done and go to Vegas? It looks really nice.
No, I actually have a pet tortoise that lives in the wild. I go and visit him. So.
I'm sure he said, "Girl, that hair looks good."
Actually, he would, when he heard the quad, he would come up out of his.
Really? How big?
The turtle, about this big.
Good.
Yeah,
it sounds like you live a nice, peaceful life.
It is fun. It's difficult. I wish it would rain, but it's fun.
Right.
So
he
anyway,
gave you the ATV,
and then we came about. His wife liked the one that he got, so he ended up getting another one. And a few months later, he said he wanted me to come up and get it. I live down in Southern California, Mojave Desert, and he lives up in Cupertino. And so my roommate and I went up there and got it, and he presented me with a bill for it, and for $4,300.
How much?
$4,300. $4,300, and he gave an itemized list of everything. And looking back now, both of us, we never set down a set payment schedule or how much each at what time, how much, and da-da-da. I just said I would pay it off as soon as I could.
And that was when?
That was in March. Okay. And then I gave him a small $100 payment then, and then I started paying him money in April and May and in July and in August.
So out of the $4,300, you repaid how much?
$1,850.
All right.
And that was the last payment was in August 11th, and September 21st, he showed up at my house at 6:30 in the morning. Woke me up, and he told me that, I said, "What's wrong?" And he said he had had a horrible fight with his wife, and he was just really distraught. And so we walked around my yard for about 45 minutes talking, and I was just trying to feel him out and see what's going on. And he said, "So can I ride the quad?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely. You know, it's got some gas in it and stuff." And I offered him water, he wouldn't take it, but so he took off on the quad, and it took me about 3 hours to realize that the quad wasn't coming back.
You repossessed it. That's
Yes.
what he was doing?
Defendant John Moomey says the plaintiff is his sister, and he claims when they were younger, they both dabbled in drugs, but he has since turned his life around.
Let me hear from him. Sir, what happened?
Well, I heard the story that she told me about getting ripped off, and I felt bad for her. I kind of wondered what happened to the $550,000 that we inherited 3 years ago, and I'm curious to know why she doesn't.
$550. It hasn't been split up yet, or?
Oh no, we each got $550,000.
Oh, so you wondering why she can't pay you? How long ago was that?
I was curious to know why she couldn't buy her a brand new quad.
How long ago was that?
Oh, what? We got the money?
Yes.
4 years ago.
It was 4 years ago.
Okay. Do you work, ma'am?
No, I don't. I paid off my 20 acres, and
Okay.
I
If you must know.
Yes,
Go ahead.
exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with anything, but it's okay.
Count your money.
And I actually went to Florida and had a whole bunch of mouth work done that was extremely expensive, which is now not working very well, and I have to go back.
You don't have to tell me all that. Where's your money? What you do with your $550?
Oh, you want to know exactly?
Yes.
I bought 2 parcels of property. I bought 20 acres up in the mountains of Calaveras
Trying
County.
to copy you. Go ahead.
Well, and then I bought another 10 acres for my wife.
I'm trying to beat you now.
No, I
trying to jump ahead of you now.
I bought 10 acres in Tennessee, too.
Oh, y'all compete. You get 20, he get 20. He gets 10 more, you get 10 more. I ain't think about
Actually,
that.
mine's 9.6 acres, so he
All
was
right.
beating good.
So that's your thing is she's doing all this.
You know, and yeah, we paid. We had 3 vehicles that we financed. We paid all of our vehicles off. We paid all of our debts off. All the credit cards were paid off, and you know, we were not paying any late fees on anything and no interest on any credit cards. We were using the cards for everything and going to Hawaii for $11 and all things like that. So we were, you know, and I did some other investing for, you know, I didn't want to
you don't have
completely waste it all.
money to me. Let's talk about her suing you and you repossessing the ATV. It sounds like she's suggesting illegally.
Illegally, that I illegally repossessed it?
Yes.
Well,
she's saying that she met her commitment to you. So if you haven't breached the contract, it would be illegal to take it back.
Well, she and I have been down this road before. And as my wife Heather says, leopards don't change their spots. And I was expecting something like this to happen. So in the course of, I told her I'd buy her a new ATV, and I actually suggested that maybe we go down to a dealer and she get a new ATV and maybe I co-sign for the financing, which I'm glad I didn't, because there would have been my credit. So I told her, you know, I could buy her a new ATV. I bought her an ATV, and it would totaled about $7,000, and it was a big one. And in the process, I took it up to my property up in Calaveras County, and I rode it around, and I pulled garbage up off the ravine with the winch and all this other fun stuff. And I thought, you know, I really like this, and I think I want one. And my neighbor said, well, you know, I got one in my yard here. I'll sell it to you. And so I kept the original one, and I bought the one from my neighbor, and it needed to be fixed up, rented a trailer, took it up there, brought the ATV back, went through a lot of headaches and just getting the thing together. And it was an understanding that she was going to pay me back.
We talked about it was understanding based on remarks,
based on verbal agreements.
Yes.
I said, you know, I'd like this paid back within 6 months.
No, that never happened.
Let him finish.
Okay, sorry.
In the process, to cover myself, when I got the paperwork for the ATV, I remained the legal owner and the lien holder on that. And I would pay it, I would sign it over to her as soon as she paid it off.
It was registered to me, though.
She failed to pay it off, but why did you repossess it? How did she breach it?
Well, the thing is I was constantly chasing her down to find out when is the next payment going to be.
In fact, that became our only amount. Once that quad happened, the only time I ever heard from him was, when's the next payment? When's the next payment? When's the next payment? And I have to admit that I fell to that under pressure. I fell under pressure even though I thought we hadn't made a commitment, and I should have, in hindsight, at that point said, okay, we need to
How many months did she have it?
March,
she had it
April,
6 months.
May, June.
All right, and you repossessed it. What's the date again?
September 21st.
September, repossessed it.
And I sent her a text asking I got the last payment on August 21st.
No, August 11th.
Or August 11th. I got the last payment on August 11th. On September 11th, I sent her a text saying, when can I expect the next payment? I heard nothing back from her.
Defendant John Moomey says the plaintiff is his sister, and he claims when they were younger, they both dabbled in drugs, but he has since turned his life around.
Out of the 6 months, how many did you miss?
I paid some. I paid the initial down payment in March.
Do you know how many
April,
you missed?
2 months. So it would be June and.
See, that's a tough answer from you, ma'am, because you don't.
Well, no, I have all the receipts.
And you say it was how many months she missed?
I think it was 2 or 3.
Okay.
My point in taking the ATV, I fully intended to give it back to her. The reason I took the ATV was because I felt that paying me off for that ATV was not a priority in her life. And I was simply trying to give her a little more incentive.
Okay, you still want your money or not?
I do want the money.
All right. So, ma'am, you missed 2 months. Were you up to date when he repossessed it?
I don't know how to answer that question because there was not even an agreement that I had to pay monthly. I just had to pay.
There was no agreement
some
to
months
pay
that
monthly?
I paid. There was some months I paid 2 times. I paid twice.
Well, ma'am, if there was no agreement to pay monthly, why did you tell me you missed 2 months?
But it's not. But
so you didn't have to pay those 2
I didn't
months.
have to, but
You didn't have to pay any month.
Well, no, I had to pay. Of course, I had
Which
to pay.
month?
Whenever I had the money to pay.
Okay, and you don't have the money yet.
Right.
Sir, you don't have the money yet.
The understanding was that she was going to pay me off about $500 a month.
That's not
and there was
true.
A text.
That discussion never
Let's
happened.
go to some communications. I see no one's going to agree on anything here. So, anybody want to show me any communications? I can't tell by testimony who's telling the truth today. And it's your burden to prove that you're telling the truth. And so you have to try and convince me. You have to convince me of your side. And I don't know, once again, by testimony, who's telling the truth. Any
Excuse
evidence?
me, Your Honor.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
On May 13th,
What page should I be reading?
Page 3.
All right. What does it say?
It says, how soon can I expect a payment from you? Which is typical of me. I'm sending it today, John. I'm just about ready to leave to town. Do you want it registered or not registered? I'm sending you $250 this week and $250 next week.
That's true. I did say that. And then that changed, and I did state to him that my circumstances changed. And
it's coincidental that you were sending $500 that month. Huh? That's a coincidence?
No, it's not coincidence, sir.
Because he told you the amount, and that's why you were telling him how you would pay the amount. Have a good day. Your claim is dismissed, and yours is granted. Have a good day. Bye.
Well, I hope we can go on and be friends.
I have nothing to say except that I love you, and I'm really sorry that the situation happened.